All right. Welcome everyone. My name is Sherry Carpenter. I'm the Executive Director for Keep Florida Beautiful. This is our monthly webinar series that we try to put on and introduce nonprofits and other organizations, including the Keep Florida Beautiful affiliates, to different opportunities and connections that they can make with other organizations in their areas. So today I wanted to introduce Melissa Fernandez. She is with the Florida Native Plant Society, and she is the statewide executive director. I'm just going to do a quick bio on her, and then I'm going to leave it to her to go ahead and get started. And I'll let her decide whether she wants to do questions as we go or leave questions till the end. Dr. Fernandez is a scientist, lifelong educator, and environmentalist who serves as the executive director of the Florida Native Plant Society. Florida born and raised in Miami-Dade County, her work is rooted in a deep personal connection to the landscapes and communities of the state. Trained in environmental chemistry, plants, and trained in environmental chemistry and pathology, Melissa brings a big picture perspective to conservation's connecting ecological health with community well-being. She leads statewide efforts to protect Florida's native plants and biodiversity by strengthening community-led conservation partnerships and on-the-ground work across Florida. Thank you, Dr. Fernandez, for being here. I will go ahead and leave it to you.
All right, thanks. Um, I'm Melissa Fernandez, and I remember long ago, once upon a time, I was a young girl just riding my bike through Shark Valley, which is in the Everglades. I was there with my family, and I saw sawgrass stretching endlessly on both sides of the trail as alligators, they glided through water in between the sawgrass patches. Turtles were basking on fallen logs below, and hingas with their wings spread wide, just perched and drying off after fishing. And I remember also feeling part of something really ancient and wild and real and rich. But I didn't realize then that every day the Everglades was being systematically dismantled, drained, and developed. That our water flow in the state was dramatically altered. Plants were disappearing. The birds no longer had anywhere to nest and rest. And this was occurring throughout the state, destroying one habitat at a time. And so one day I was driving through Florida and it hit me. There's just asphalt everywhere where plants once grew. There's new dredged canals carving through our wetlands, and development was creeping where native plants had thrived for millennia. The place I loved as a child was disappearing in real time, and this made me incredibly sad. I felt hopeless watching politics and greed just destroy something sacred, something that seems so big and insurmountable to fight against. And finally, I did find my people at FNPS. We are an organization with thousands of Floridians who get it. We love this land. We show up every day to fight for native plants, and it's a calling. And I realized this when I joined FNPS. This isn't something I have to do alone. It's something we get to do together to protect our land. Our public lands are ours. It's about belonging to this place and protecting it for each other and with each other. So why I love FMPS, it's not just about the plants, it's the people. We're a society. We're largely volunteer run. We have about 33 chapters and growing throughout the state. So there's plenty of local chapters, probably one in your area that you can join. And I'm going to play this short video that shows, not tells, but shows how we work to protect our native plants.
1,000 people every day are moving to Florida. The state is changing so rapidly.
Plants can't run away when the bulldozer comes.
All the stuff is connected together somehow. Individually, they're native plants, but as a whole, they're a habitat.
It's got to change. We have people who are earnestly striving to get that done.
So I hope the audio worked. Um, so who is FNPS? We've been around for 46 years now. Last year was our Sapphire year, our 45th anniversary. And this collection of native plants, as close to the color sapphire as I could find, is not a complete list of bluish flowers, but drives home the point that we have a lot of beauty in the state. So I'm Melissa Fernandez de Cespedes, as was said. It's nice to meet you. I grew up with the Everglades in my backyard. The best year of my life was doing Everglades and Biscayne Bay field research at FIU. I unfortunately left the state for my PhD and regretted it immediately and did everything in my power to come back so I could work in conserving what I love, which is our land. Um, I love botanizing. It's not hiking, it's real slow. We stare at plants. I love coffee, turtles, so this is a great state for me. We have plenty of turtles, data analysis, chemistry, pizza, and hiking. So this is just two pictures of me back in my youth sampling, and this is Key Largo Harbor, collecting seagrasses from the sea floor to do some analysis for my research. And so I did this work even though I have a petrifying fear of drowning, and I faced that fear for the love of plants. So Florida is a biodiversity hotspot in the world. There's no place like Florida. We have 3,200 or more native plant species in the state, and I say or more because a lot of our plants are becoming threatened, endangered, and going extinct. Uniquely, we are a global hotspot for carnivorous plants, which is really cool, and it's a big draw for tourism. We have a very exceptional diversity of orchids, grasses, and we have fire adapted endemics because this state is maintained naturally through fire. And we have a lot of different kinds of ecosystems, and you can learn more about them on our website. So we're very specialized and very diverse, but that also makes us a little vulnerable. So why native plants? Well, they are ecological infrastructure. They are the load-bearing beams to our habitats. As primary producers, animals, wildlife, and humans, they depend on native plants for food, habitat, and native plants help build and sustain long-term climate resilience. So this is a picture of a page in this book, Priceless Florida. I highly recommend. It's a lovely book, and it's just showing wetlands throughout the state of Florida in 1784 compared to 200 years later in 1984. And so you can only imagine how much more loss we've had since then, and it's very dramatic loss of our wetlands. Current land use is shown in orange in this graph in this image here, and you can see it's mostly along the coasts. We have some land in conservation, and you can see the Everglades nice, bright and green, and then just other patches of green. But the projected land use in Florida in 2060, which is approaching quickly, it is very dramatically orange. And so this is what's occurring in our state, what's projected, and we're on track for this to occur. Our endangered Florida scrub jay, it's a beautiful blue bird. It's going to have a land mass of habitat roughly the 3 times the size of Manhattan in in this time frame, and that is not a lot. Manhattan's pretty small. So the answer to this is we need to conserve our land. We do have a program in Florida called Florida Forever. It's a national envy. It's established as the state's primary conservation program. It is funded through our tax on real estate transactions, the stamp tax. It's a permanent program with dedicated funding, but our legislators are not allocating money to the program. And so you can see in the graph over time from 2000 till today that Florida Forever funding is limping along. And this year we do not have final numbers, but they're pushing to not fund this program. And FMPS is advocating for at least 300 million to the program, which is where this program started in 2000. And my favorite thing to use in this day and age is an inflation calculator. So 300,000 in 2000 is sorry, 300 million in 2000 is more than 300 million in 2026, but we're asking that we reestablish that funding to its base number as a start. So why is Florida Forever important? It protects our natural areas. It preserves our water resources and helps us with recharging our aquifer, which we've been in drought for a while. Our aquifers are running dry. It funds the wildlife corridor and endangered species habitat protection. And it has protected to date over 10 million acres statewide. So in the map of Florida, you can see that we have our conservation lands in the dark green. And then there's land that's been identified that could be great opportunities to expand the wildlife corridor, and those are in that light green. So we haven't acquired them, but we'd like to. And by we, I mean the people, not FMPS. We work to support this. So Florida Forever, it's a national model, a national envy. It had and still has a lot of bipartisan support. It is a long-term vision, so it's not reactive to a problem. It's addressing the problem that we anticipate, that 2060 projection. It addresses our unique needs, such as protecting our Everglades, reinforcing our coast to prevent flooding, addressing habitat fragmentation primarily, and that's through connecting these different lands so that wildlife can traverse through the state in a more natural way. And it has proven results. We have restored habitats, protected species, and had water quality improvements from this program. So why are we throwing it away? Why are we not funding it? A lot of it has to do with the funding being diverted to other priorities, including a program that we do support as well, the Rural and Family Lands Program. A lot of the money is going to that program under the guise of we're conserving land through rural and family lands, but that's not how rural and family lands works in essence. So we are putting some pressure back on the state. We need to fund this. There's also a lot of political pressure. There's lobbyists that want less conservation so that we can have more urban sprawl. People are thinking short term, what is going to benefit today and not tomorrow. So it's easier to approve development now that land than rather than protect that land for the future. And there's this false narrative of economy versus environment, that we need to destroy our environment to improve our economy. But this ignores that conservation supports our economy through tourism, water security, property values, and there's alternatives to urban sprawl. We can have more infill development where we develop areas that are already urban that are not being utilized. And then there's this climate blindness, there's sea level rise, hurricanes, and they're getting worse. The flooding's getting worse. And I myself am a climate migrant who lost my house in Hurricane Helene. So this is a real growing problem. So the reality is Florida Forever isn't a luxurious program. It's about our survival. And without this program, we lose our drinking water. We lose hurricane protection. We lose our beloved wildlife, such as the gopher tortoise. Our tourism economy is going to suffer from this. And our property values, just from a selfish point of view, the properties that we fought so hard to buy are going to reduce in value instead of growing in value because the land around it is not going to be appealing to a new buyer. So the current status of the program, it still technically exists, it exists, but it is chronically underfunded. Development pressures have shown up in some bills in this last legislative session, and we've been pushing back against those, and we've had some wins. And climate change is making conservation more urgent, not less. So we need to protect these lands. So what can you do today? I like to be actionable. I just delivered a lot of bad news, potentially, how you interpret it. But when I feel frustrated, I like to have a solution. And one solution is you can contact your state representatives. They work for us. And I know we say that all the time, but I don't see us talking to them. I don't see us demanding that we sustain this Florida Forever funding. We are their constituents, and we are the ones that vote them in and vote them out. And you can share the following message. It doesn't have to be highly scientific or technical, that Florida Forever is not optional. It's about our survival. And without this funding, we lose drinking water, hurricane protection, and tourism economy. I also encourage people to attend their local city council, county commission meetings and speak during the public comment. You can say that you support conservation funding, and you can push back on development projects that actively destroy habitat and that urban sprawl, rather than investing in the communities you already have through infill development. So without Florida Forever, there is no future for Florida, period. And conservation happens where these decisions are made. And most of those threats to our wildlife, our beautiful, biodiverse hotspots, they begin off the landscape. They begin in government, in decision making. We have action alerts that we issue on an emergency basis, our organization as well as others. Ours are focused on conserving land and protecting our native plants. These action alerts are tied to very, very short deadlines. So we need people to act immediately when they get the action alert, not, oh, I'll get to it later, and then you forget. We all do that. Because these delays, they're missed opportunities to have your voice heard and to act to protect our lands. These decisions move quickly. That's why the action alerts are so time sensitive. We issue them with urgency because we are also just learning about these things. They happen so fast and in a quick succession. And the public input windows are very short. And this is by design. And our silence becomes consent. If we don't tell our representatives what we want, we're agreeing with whatever decision is about to happen. So if we're not in the room, then neither are native plants. And presence matters more than perfection. As a middle child, I'm a perfectionist. It has to be perfect. It does not. You just show up when you can. You respond when the timing is critical. And your consistent voice changes the outcome. So you can sign up for action alerts. You don't have to be an expert and you don't have to be a member of FMPS. You can just sign up for the action alerts. You can scan the QR code on the screen. All we need is a name and an email. The phone number is optional. We are not issuing text action alerts at this time, but down the line, we might do that in the future. So our greatest legacy isn't just the plants we protect today, but the people we prepare to advocate for them after us. And so I'm also issuing another call to action. Choose your conservation role. Are you a defender responding to action alerts and attending those local meetings? Are you a knowledge keeper, sharing that field knowledge, mentoring others, and documenting what's in the field? Are you a multiplier, supporting interns, funding grants, supporting students and early career conservationists? Are you a connector, bringing native plants into your community? You can have a school native plant garden, butterfly garden, bird garden. There's tons of ways to support wildlife right outside your front door. And so conservation isn't something we inherit. We repeatedly have to choose it. Clearly, in 2000, we chose to have this program. Then in 2014, the people voted to continue funding this program in through the stamp tax. Um, and so we have to repeatedly keep choosing this and pushing and reminding, even when it's a bit inconvenient for us, because it's very time sensitive. So there's other ways to have an impact. You can volunteer at the chapter level. There's a chapter near you, and you can find the chapters near you on our website. You can connect with people at the chapter, contribute to the local chapter activities, to your local community. And that's truly local action is statewide impact. You can also join one of our many statewide committees. We have an education committee, our biennial conference committee, landscaping, science policy, conservation. You can also volunteer if you have the expertise to attend a land management review, and help our public land managers with managing their local land, giving them feedback on how they're doing in that land management. And this is going to directly impact your community locally. You can even mentor a new reviewer if you've done it before. And you can also spread the word about us, that we exist, our science, our conservation efforts, all of which we have on our website as well. And I invite you to email me. I love talking to people, and I get real sad when I don't have emails from people in my inbox. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to connect anyone with a way that they'd like to contribute to this mission. So your checklist for today, sign up for those eco action alerts. Find out the name and contact info of your federal and state senators and representatives. A lot of us don't know who they are. Let's get to know them. We're paying them. Find out who your local commissioners are and when and where they meet. Put this in your calendar. And if you would like to be involved with FMPS, please, again, email me and let's chat. Hi, Melissa. I'd like to get more involved, and introduce yourself. You can also check out our website, and you can I'm going to leave this here for a moment so you can take a picture of the checklist so that you know what to do when this webinar is over.
Thank you, Melissa.
And then the last thing, I believe, yes, this is the last slide. We have a conference in 2027. We celebrate our native plants. Our conference is going to be in Daytona, and it's hosted by our local chapter there, the Paw Paw chapter. It's a living mosaic connecting people, plants, and places. Mosaics describes how our different habitats and landscapes function together. There's the Everglades depends on Lake Okeechobee. We have springs that depend on water flow as a wetland state. And if you'd like to be considered for a presentation spot or join the committee, volunteer, you can email our conference chair, Athena Phillips, conference chair at fmps.org. We're a fun group. We are going to have tons of field trips, and our field trips are going into nature and learning about the native plants, seeing the ecosystems. We even identify invasive species if they're present, and we learn a ton. It's so fun. Check if the field trip is accessible to you. And for the most part, children are absolutely welcome. We want to teach the next generation about what real Florida is. And I'll take questions. I'm excited to have a conversation.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate you being here today. I definitely want to have like a conversation about how affiliates, the Keep Florida Beautiful affiliates and other organizations for that matter, how they can work with their local Florida Native Plant societies. I have some ideas in the back of my brain, but if you want to start us off, I'm more than happy to let you go.
Yeah, please go to our website. We have all of the contact information for our chapters there. There's a feature where you can find your local chapter based on where you are, where the internet is telling the app where you are. So if you're on a VPN, it probably won't work, but you can, if you're not, it will. I've tested it. um, Reach out to your local chapter and see what sort of activities they're planning and how you can collaborate with them. Each chapter is unique. They have a different personality and focus depending on the local needs. So, for example, Central Florida is growing a ton. If I can go back to this map, a lot of that growth is coastal and Central Florida. Um, so we have a lot of plant rescues, which is where a bunch of volunteers coordinated by the chapters in that area go to a site and we literally remove endangered plants that are about to be homeless because they're losing their habitat to development. And then we work with our partners to find appropriate recipient sites where those endangered plants can move to with the hope that we can preserve that genetic biodiversity for that species as we try to reconstitute it in nature. So
That's
that's one
great.
example of like a specific need locally.
That's really great. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so, this collaboration kind of came about exactly what you're talking about, Kenneth, is Keep Florida Beautiful, along with Keep Franklin County Beautiful and a bunch of other nonprofit organizations. We decided that we wanted to do an Earth Day celebration in Franklin County, and we're doing one in Apalachicola. And so I reached out to find out who was that local connection in that area, which now that I've made that connection, they'll be tabling at the event as well, talking about their programming and what they have to offer for their Earth Day event. I definitely think at this juncture, Kenneth, you can reach out to your local chapter, but most people already have a fully booked April Earth Day schedule. I definitely would take a look, but it's good to have them on your in your Rolodex for next year or for other events. But typically Earth Day is so overbooked for so many
I
people.
know for everybody.
Yeah.
We generally like to party in October. It's October Florida Native Plant Month is the preferred month for our Native Plant Day or Native Plant Month because a
Okay.
lot of our native wildflowers are in bloom and the weather is perfect for going out there and seeing it. So it's kind of a win-win situation. This year we are planning to have a lot of events. Please attend. That's one way you can get involved is attending those events. We're gonna have a wide variety of different types of events statewide. So there's probably gonna be one local to you, and you can attend any one of them throughout the state as a person.
That's great. So yeah, so you're saying October is like a really great month to get active with your Florida Native Plant Society.
It's a
Kenneth,
really
I
great
just
month to celebrate native
Oh,
plants.
good. I love
Yeah.
that. Kenneth, I just dropped Broward County's local link. Theirs is the Broward chapter. I dropped that in there so you can go to that and then kind of connect with them if you'd like. There's an email and everything in there. Also, I think, and Melissa, you may have a recommendation. Kenneth is in Miami-Dade
Mhm.
or Broward, excuse me. in that area, and he's asking for a recommendation for a shade tree and right of ways. But I don't know if you want to step on that or if you'd rather the local chapter make recommendations.
The local chapter can absolutely make recommendations for your local area. Because Broward County is in the southeast. I mean, I grew up on right at the boundary of Dade and Broward, so I'm familiar. The plants are very different than Central and North Florida. And so it's more of a tropical environment. And both the Miami-Dade and the Broward County chapters can provide expert advice on which shade trees they'd recommend, especially considering like what your restrictions are, the area and the surrounding space and everything.
That's great. Thank you. And I'm looking at the chapter directory. They are very similar to us. They're very widespread. And to Melissa's point, I think it's important to recognize that they are their own individual organizations. So just like us, they do different, slightly different things, and they're looking to support their local region. So definitely connect with them locally. And then Kenneth, I see your hand is up. Would you like to?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, so to that point, we're currently undergoing land development regulation rewrite here at our city. And so I'm trying to put together a suitable tree list for, residents and developers, other than your typical five that always get planted down here. I've got a running list of about 45 to 50, but the problem is a lot of the more rare stuff tends to cost a lot of money. So I'm wondering if there's up and coming species that may start to get used. For instance, satin leaf is kind of making a comeback down here in the landscape, whereas in the past most people weren't planting it. So, I've got stuff like crabwood and dogwood and Columbina and cinnamon bark and et cetera, et cetera. I'm tired of seeing gumbo limbos and oak trees. I mean, I love them, but they're far too everywhere. So.
Yeah, diversity is key. We don't want to just have a monoculture of landscape plants. A great organization for the native plant industry, we can buy what's available. And it's this tug of war between demand and the business side of things and the timing, because not all these plants grow with exceptional speed for the native plant trade. So it's kind of this mixed bag of what do people want? What are they willing to pay for it? What's worth the investment? So one way to encourage some species diversity and what's available in the trade is to let them know what you're interested in, let them know what you're looking for. And the more they hear the industry people, the more they hear, oh, I really want this species that I can't find, the more likely it will be to enter the trade. Or they might even be able to connect you with someone that they know could source it for you ethically.
Lynn has a question as well. She wants to know if Florida Native Plant Society, if they ever work on roadside native plant projects.
We we do not. It depends on if the chapter does. Some chapters are participating in those kinds of projects, but in large part that is done by the Florida Wildflower Foundation in collaboration with the Florida Department of Transportation. And they're a wonderful program. We partner with them on a lot of different projects, and I highly recommend them as well. They maintain that connection with FDOT, whereas we generally have demonstration gardens throughout the state so people can see native plants in a man-made landscape. And we do a lot of plant rescues and conservation work. Some of those rescues do happen on roadways. So most recently in August, I participated in a plant rescue for Dicerandra cornatissima. It's an endangered plant in the Laminaceae or mint family. And they were expanding, or they are currently expanding I-75 northbound to make it wider. So that was going to require destroying part of the last remaining habitat for this scrub mint species that resides there. So we were along 75 in August, just digging up Dicerandra so that Bok Tower could let them recover from the transplant shock. And we're looking for a recipient site for those plants that survived that transplant. So that's kind of the road work we do. We don't really do plantings or maintenance.
Great, thank you. I'd like to open it up to some more questions, if anyone has anyone. Um, Let me give everyone a second. You throw up a hand or start talking or throw it in the chat, whichever makes you happiest. All right, I'm going to scroll back up then while everyone's thinking, because I know there was another question regarding some kind of, is there some kind of state land auctions coming up in July that you're aware of, Melissa? I'm not aware of it, but this isn't my realm.
I'm not aware of that. That's a great question. I'm thinking when that just immediately triggered me to think about the most recent land purchase in the Panhandle, the Dustin land purchase, the 4-acre parking lot our tax money paid 80 million for. That kind of stuff happens all the time pretty randomly. And that's the kind of focus that we have when there's these land purchases with our taxpayer money that don't serve our environment at all. And we do issue action alerts for those.
Okay, great. And the action alerts, is that like a link on your website?
Yeah.
For people who are interested in that.
I hope
Okay,
this
it is.
QR code works. I'm always nervous it's got the wrong link.
I'll try it. I'll let you know.
It should be, yeah, pretty straightforward.
And then Kaylee was saying that the DEP has a list of land that they're going to auction off on their website, and she put the link in the chat. So that is there. Okay, they call it surplus properties for sale, and there's like
That's the word.
a list of
That's
property.
the word. Yeah, for surplus, there's some bills related to this that were not good. I really encourage you to check out the action alerts on our website. It's under news and events. Um, we also have our legislative priorities, and that's addressed in our legislative priorities as well. Our policy committee is very good, very active. And the letters that we send to our representatives, letting them know our position is also on our website as well. We don't hide that. We're very transparent about it. So you can read those letters of what FMPS is telling our legislators. And you can take language from that as well when you're reaching out to your representatives.
Great. Thank you. Kenneth?
Yeah, so I believe that legislative issue was something that happened just today. I was scrolling on the social medias today during lunch. You know how it just refreshes the page, so I lost it. I tried to search for something on the internet that I can't locate anything currently.
Okay. I'm sure it'll pop back up for everyone in the next couple
Well, the
days.
algorithm is listening, so we're all going to see it tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
But yeah, it's very easy. And then also at the bottom in the footer of our website, I have an action alert sign up there as well. So you never really have to look at it. You can just scroll all the way down.
Cool. Thank you. I do want to say that, with the Florida Native Plant Society, there is some overlap of what our organizations do. So, we do cleanups and beautification projects, murals, invasive species management. We also do plantings. This is a great connection for not only them, but also us. I've spoken to a couple of the chapters who have very explicitly told me that they struggle with finding funds for a lot of plantings and projects. And there's never any we should be working together. We have similar goals, similar missions. So, if you have a project that you're looking at that you love some extra volunteers on some kind of planting or invasive species removal, like reach out to your local chapter. Find out if maybe you guys can pull funds for something. Maybe you can pull volunteers. Or let's say you get money and you just don't have the staffing capability to get it together. Reach out to your local chapter. Find out, hey, do you have the manpower to, if I buy the plants, do you have the manpower to get these plants in the ground? Do you have the capability to help us water them? You know, those conversations, it never hurts to ask. Worst case scenario, if they don't want to work with you, they'll just tell you, and that's not a big deal. But sometimes these local chapters, they're trying to do as much as you're trying to do. And again, there is overlap between them and us, and there's no reason we should be fighting over resources.
No,
Um,
no. We love to work together. Everything
yeah.
you just said, the volunteer. So Florida Wildflower Foundation and us, we're a good match, and we help connect a lot of volunteers to their projects as well. So we love sharing our volunteers for the mission.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no reason not to. And maybe they'll get some new volunteers that you bring to the table, and maybe you'll get some new volunteers that they bring to the table. So I just think it's really important for us to recognize that we are doing really great stuff and there's no reason for us to fight over it. And so, like make a flyer, throw both parties logos on it. It's great for everyone. So, Kenneth, I see that you have your hand up. Did you have something or are you putting it? Okay, you put it down. Um, does anyone else have any thoughts, questions, concerns? Hillary, I think you're
Okay.
muted. I can hear you now. Okay, go
Yeah, my
ahead.
microphone was flipped up. We've worked with our local chapter in the past, and they helped us do a native garden at a library and have maintained it throughout the years. Um, and I've reached out to our local chapter a few times with questions about native plants, and I just want to say it's always a great resource and a great friendship to have.
That's great. I love hearing that, Hillary. Thank you for sharing that. And that's exa using those resources as best you can. That's awesome. And kind of going back to like why rework the wheel if you have someone who is great at this stuff, like utilize them. Just like when people come to us and they want us to do cleanups, we're great at that. We know how to do it in and out. So thank you for sharing, Hillary. Anyone else want to add something? I think we're kind of winding down a little bit. But I just want to say again, thank you, Melissa, for being here. The work that the Florida Native Plant Society is doing is great to see. And we're hoping that this conversation will encourage more of our affiliates to work together and to work with you guys. And I encourage you to send out an email to yours and we also have a link on our website on the Keep Florida Beautiful website where it shows all of our affiliates throughout the state. And we have over 47 of them, so we have quite a lot. Some counties have more than others, but I encourage you to tell them to reach out to us too if they want to work on a project. And for funding purposes, especially with grants and things like that, I do encourage our affiliates that a lot of grant opportunities in grant organizations, they love seeing more than one nonprofit on it. So being able to put your affiliate and then maybe the Native Plant Society and say we're working together and this, that, and the other thing, they love seeing that kind of stuff. Collaboration is so important. So I do encourage you to consider that for grants as well. Melissa, I will leave it to you if there's anything you'd like to say.
Yeah, since you mentioned funding, we do have annually a conservation grant that we distribute. It requires that you have sponsorship from a local chapter. That is a
Cool.
big key requirement, but it doesn't require that you are a scientist doing science research. That's from our science endowment grants. So please, if you have a project idea locally and you're seeking money, contact your local chapter, form that relationship, and get them to sponsor you for this grant. It's a really good program, and it's intended just for what you mentioned.
Awesome. Is the grants, are they listed on your website as well if they
Yes.
wanted to learn more?
Yeah, under the What We Do grants. Yes.
Great.
Hmm.
Oh, I see it. Okay. So yeah, no, that's perfect. So, thank you so much, Melissa, for your time. We really appreciate you being here and chatting with us today. Good luck with your very busy schedule in April. And thank you everyone for being here. We will definitely be sending out this conversation to everyone in the next couple days. So have a wonderful weekend and see you guys next time.
And I look forward to your emails.
Yes, I'm excited that you're going to get them.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.